On the outside looking in, not quite sure of where you've been. Unnamed faces, familiar places. Will you connect it all again? Can't hold the moments that made you come. We're losing who and how and when. Missing traces, time erases. Won't lose who you are, just where you've been.
This is the best place to be on a Sunday morning.
That's right.
Everybody's happy, welcoming. We wish you love, especially here on Veterans Day. We want to recognize all our veterans. Thank them for serving us. So have a great day here. Good morning and welcome to this wonderful center that's filled with joy and happiness and love. Come and experience it. Have a great day.
Hi, I'm Monique. I'm a greeter at the Center for Spiritual Living. Have a blessed day, everyone.
If I could ask the Minister of Prayer team to surround the sanctuary. I'd like to just, again, have a moment of silence for the events that took place this week. I'd like to start with the reading our global vision, and then we'll move into the silence. We see a world that works for everyone, where all life is honored as expressions of the divine, where people live according to spiritual truth, where humanity awakens to spiritual magnificence, where humanity rediscovers personal creative power, where we live as one global family, where kinship with all life prospers, where unity and connection is emphasized, where forgiveness is the norm, where spiritual guidance is valued, where we are called to conscious social action, where people have enough food, homes, and a sense of belonging, where there is peace, harmony, and justice for all, where resources are valued, cared for, and shared, where communities are meaningfully involved in service to the world, where there is a renewed emphasis on beauty, nature, creativity, art, and aesthetics. And I'm knowing that my reading this on such a regular basis is not the norm. My heart goes out to Thousand Oaks for the events that took place this week. The shooting, the fire, all the fires throughout Southern California, and all that people are going through that is not expressing their true nature of who they are. I'm just saying no more. And so please just move into the silence with me now. And so it is. Good morning. Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think that God was the sun, God is the sun, but God's so much more than the earth or the stars or all of creation. God is creator, all in all, needing us to shine His light as we, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Command my hands, command my hands. What must they do? Command my life. It's here for you, 'cause God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, He makes all things new, and God needs us to shine His light as we, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God, yes. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of God. You are my family. You are the face of God. If you will, allow yourself to move ever more deeply into that loving space within. Place your feet flat on the floor and open your heart, and allow my words to be your words this morning. My God, that God that is the God of all, the creator of all, present everywhere, in and through everyone and everything.
as love and life and peace and joy and good and plenty. All there is God, and it is forever fully present in and through me, and not only me, but everyone in this space, everyone, everywhere. All there is God, is good. And I declare today, despite what the world presents to us, that my God is always on the job, that my God is always present and available, that my God is the sunshine that is always shining even when the clouds move in. My God chases away the fear and replaces it with love and peace and joy and comfort. And so today I choose to look beyond the conditions and the circumstances and the way things appear. And I know the truth, that love abides everywhere and is fully available to everyone and everything. And I am so grateful to know this is the truth. I am so grateful to know that the light of God is always shining. And so I'm grateful today for this service. I'm grateful for the people who have showed up today to partake in this wonderful program, to be refreshed and renewed in spirit. I'm so grateful today for the music, the prayers, the processes that we go through to represent the good that God is. Thank you, God, for the children. Thank you for their presence here, because they indeed are our future, and they indeed will lead our world. Thank you, God, for all the technology and the technicians, the music, which is always appropriate and on point. Thank you for our ministers who work so hard with such intention to have this be a pure and uplifting representation of spirit. And for all of this, I'm grateful. And from this place of gratitude and with absolute faith, with absolute knowing, I release this word to the law, knowing here and now that it is done as I have spoken. And let us each say, and so it is. Amen, amen, amen.
This tremendous song was written by Janice Stanfield, and it begs to have you sing it and really mean it, because we can do all the good.
Needs all the good, yes, that I can do.
can. I know we can. Yes, I can do all the good that the world needs. Sing, and the world, yes, needs all the good that I can do. Is it all right if I get into a little bit? Is that all right? Yes, I can do all the good that the world, yes, needs. And the world needs all the good, yes, that I can do. Oh, yes, it does. Real big. Yes, I can do all the good that the world needs. And the world needs all the good that I can do. One more. I can do all the good that the world needs. And the world needs all the good that I can do. Play it, man. Yes, I can do all the good that the world right needs. Yes, we can, and the world needs all the good that I can do. I love this song. I could sing it all day. Let's do it one more time. Yes, I can do all the good that the world needs. Come on now. And the world, I can't hear you, needs all the good, yes, that I can do. Yes, come on now. Yes, I can do all the good that the world needs. And the world needs all the good that I can do. Yes, yes, I can do all the good that the world needs. And the world needs all the good that I can do. Yeah, let's wrap this up. You guys sound great. Yes, I can do all the good that the world needs. And the world needs all the good that I can do. Oh, yeah, Reverend Dave.
Thank you, Dave and Patty, and good morning. Good morning we welcome you to the Las Vegas Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Dan Jerome. I'm one of the co-senior ministers here, along with Reverend Cheryl Bell, Reverend Stacy Hilton. Today's format is going to be just a little bit different. We have a couple of things planned for you. So we ask that you just enjoy the flight and just fly along with events as they go. I will ask the ministers to come up for a moment. And tomorrow is an incredibly powerful day in this country. Veterans Day? Is it today? Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was tomorrow. So it's Veterans Day, and for anyone that lives in this country, that is a day that is worth observing. That is a day for recognizing what was sacrificed for me and you to stand in this place, to worship freely, to have the freedoms that we do have in this country, unlike anywhere else in the world. So I turn it over to Patty and Dave, who have something very special planned for this holiday.
Russell, and please sing along.
So to the men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice, to those that have served our country and are here today and throughout our land, we bless you and we thank you. And so if it's comfortable for you to do so, place your hand over your heart, and with me, please say, God bless America and the rest of the world. And so now reach out to part of the world that's next to you and greet them and say
So I would like to ask Isabel and this beautiful family to come on up, Maravi, Selena, and I'm sorry, I don't, Josh? Tristan. And Alda. You guys coming up or not? Can't you? No. Happy anniversary, by the way. 13 seems to be the magic number.
Wow, pray for us. Water and such. That's a good idea. All right, Isabel.
So Maravi asked me to do a little celebration because this wonderful young lady has been with us since she was about 3 years old. And she's going to be turning 13 this week. So she's going to be older than her mom. So we
According to the Mayan calendar.
So we put a little something together for Isabel. So if y'all would just kind of just be in that, take yourself back to 13, or maybe not. That doesn't work for you. All right. So here we go. So the purpose for this rite of passage is to formally recognize the loving presence and infinite power of the Spirit in Isabel Matea Merritt Davis. The seed of perfection is planted in every person and awaits only recognition to give complete expression of good in her life. If it hasn't been recognized before, and I know it has, let me just say that I and your other two ministers formally recognize it today. Today is a special celebration, a time we've set aside for the confirmation of our love for Isabel. Maravi brings Isabel to the ceremony as an act of love, a sharing of this special event with each of us, giving us an opportunity to affirm with them the goodness of life as it expresses in this beautiful young lady. This is an outward rite for an inward recognition that each child comes forth from life, divine, unique creation. We do recognize the good that Isabel has always been, and now as she moves into being a teenager, she chooses to move into this next phase of life with ease and grace, and in knowingness and remembrance of who she is. She is an instrument here to express her own unique magnificence. She is here to be happy, healthy, wealthy, to be the joyful expression of the one life. So this ritual symbolizes our recognition of the immersion of the human in the divine life stream, our oneness with all life. Actually, there can be no separation. So on this occasion, we affirm our belief that the soul, the essence of us, our true identity, is on a great adventure. As most of us here know, there's no greater adventure than the teenage years. We just affirm and know that this is the truth for Isabel. Her adventure is so magnificent, so full of wonder, that we will never be able to experience it as she does. Our role is to encourage, to guide, and always love her unconditionally. So this morning is an opportunity to reaffirm our trust in the inherent capabilities already present in this young lady to fulfill her destiny. We have the faith that she possesses the potential to become whatever she desires to be. This occasion is also an opportunity to express our joy as we realize that Isabel will always be an all-embracing circle of infinite love. Reverend Cheryl.
I'll be reading from The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. And a woman who held a babe against her bosom said, "Speak to us of children." And he said, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls. For their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backwards nor tarries with yesterday. You are the boughs from which your children, as living arrows, the bows, I'm sorry. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, and his arrow may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable.
Just kind of surround Isabel up here.
There we go.
And so Maravi, in presenting your child for this rite of passage from child to teenager, which we are calling thriving at 13, thriving at 13, I would charge you to believe that each is a creative expression of the Creator. That you realize keeping your mind set on good leads to joy and accomplishment in life. I keep your mind set on good. Will you continue to teach your child the truth of her being, and her life is one with all life, with all good, with all peace, with all harmony and well-being? Will you continue to teach her from teenager through young adult and far beyond, that she may realize her unity with God and all that this implies? Will you conduct your own life so that not only by word but also by example she may learn to live joyously, creatively, and harmoniously with divine principle?
That's divine.
Thank you, and God bless you in your continued commitment to Isabel. And now to the godparents. So, Selena, Aldo, and Jojo. Yeah, and Jojo. Hi, Jojo. I didn't see you over there. Who's here on behalf of Millie, right? Yeah. So you are charged not only with being faithful to the ideal stated in the charge to the parent, but also with the responsibility of seeing to the spiritual welfare of Isabel. Should the need arise, it behooves all of you to stand in place as friend and counselor, listening when she needs to talk, advising when she asks, and always loving her unconditionally. It is an honored place you hold in her life. Do you wholeheartedly accept this honor? Thank you. So Isabel, will you do your best to realize your full potential and be the happiest and most joyful expression of yourself at all times? Know that you always have not only wonderful parents and godparents who are here for you, but also a spiritual family that loves you. Do you promise to remember that we are all here for you? So I affirm that you, Isabel Merritt Davis, is in the name and the nature of the one power that we in Science of Mind recognize as spirit, soul, and body. The spirit in who you live, move, and have your being. The soul, the Christ-like within you. And the body, the moving, creative principle of all life. I just affirm and know that these are wonderful years ahead of you. And so there's an altar behind you.
I have a rock. I was going to have you write an attribute of spirit that you want to embrace, but I'll give it to you later. There's one standing in place for you. You've got all the elements here. You've got, this is the element representing the element of air. Sound travels through airwaves. You've got fire, which is passion. You've got the sunflowers that you talked about that you love. You've got water, which flows through you, so you flow through ease and grace.
And a special quote that Ashley gave to me that I have on my altar. It says, I'm guided by the same intelligence and inspired by the same imagination, which scatters the moonbeams across the waves and holds the force of nature in its grasp. Victor Ernest Holmes. So congratulations on being a teenager. Happy birthday, yes.
All right.
Oh, and Dad's going to say it all.
So we close the ceremony with a brief prayer. And if it's comfortable for you to do so, please close your eyes. Allow my voice to be your voice. And so I recognize that there is only one power, one presence, one infinite divine mind. There is only one life. This life is filled with beauty, infinite power, boundless light and love, and endless abundance. And what I know is this one life is God's life. And I know that this life is my life now. And what I know to be true for me, I know to be true for Isabel. That this one life and all of its attributes, this one life that is God's life, is Isabel's life. That at this time, at this moment, Isabel expresses the God of the universe. And so I declare right here and right now, from this point forward, through this infinite power that courses through her veins, Isabel enjoys success upon greater success. That through this boundless light and love, Isabel enjoys loving and respectful relationships. And through this endless abundance that is the very essence of who she is, I declare that Isabel enjoys financial well-being and wealth and financial freedom. I also declare that anything that may have happened in the past that perhaps did not have the appearance of good, I know that at this very moment, anything that happened in the past is healed. And that whatever any of that was, it dissolves into the nothingness from whence it came. Today is a new day. Today is a new beginning. Today is a new way of thinking and living. I celebrate Happy 13, and I know that it is the beginning of a new journey. So I give thanks for this amazing event. I give thanks for this amazing beginning. And I give thanks for Isabel's new life. And so now I simply take the words that have been spoken here, I release them into the powerful law. This law which has everything it needs to make these words a reality. I release them, I know it is done now. I let go, I let God, and together we say, and so it is. Happy birthday, my love.
What a spectacular day, right? Happy birthday. Well, I don't think I found this man. I think he found me, and I couldn't be happier. Just wait till you hear him sing. He is a singer-songwriter, and you can see him, I think, every second Friday at Red Rock, maybe in the Red Rocks Lounge. Very beautiful place. I'm sure you'd kill. Please welcome Chadwick Johnson.
You know, also, Isabel, the ushers have these red pieces of paper if you would like to just write a note to her, you know, on her journey. All right. I'm going to introduce our fabulous guest speaker who came on the perfect day. It's our Thanksgiving potluck Sunday, and little did she know we were going to have a Thriving at 13 rite of passage. Well, we kind of didn't know it either. It was a, you know, Stacy's so good at that. Reverend Karen Lindsay. We had a wonderful workshop yesterday. You all missed it. It was fabulous. She's received her practitioner's license in 2008, and she graduated with a master's degree in consciousness studies from the Holmes Institute in 2014. She was ordained by Centers for Spiritual Living just this year. Congratulations. And before the ink was dry on her practitioner's license, she has been designing workshops and retreats, and she teaches both online and face-to-face and holds a creative camping retreat every spring in Death Valley. She's the author of one book, which is in our bookstore, and she has 2 more in the pipeline for publication. She lives in Minden, Nevada, near Carson City, with her husband, Floyd, her husband of almost a year now, right? Yes, December 18th. And she'll be closing on their beautiful home and on the 14th. Yes, it's a lot going on, girl. She lived, dog Annie and her cat Yang and her horse Sunny Q, who was in the wedding, I heard. Yes, you can, was Sunny the maid of?
Sonny was my best man.
Your best man. Sonny was the best man, of course. Oh yeah, Sonny gave you away. You have video of this, right?
We have stills.
Stills? Okay. She's a fabulous photographer too. But you can check her out and talk to her after the service. You're in for a treat. Reverend Karen.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. Whoops, what was that? Whee! Wasn't that wonderful this morning? That transition ceremony and that tribute. I wish my husband was here because he was in the Marines and he's celebrating today. And I really wanted him to see that. So thank you. Thank you for doing all of that. Well, they've created a wonderful mood for us, but you know, your topic this month is freedom from fear and error thinking. And our topic for today is fear and punishment. So just for a tiny little bit, I'm going to bring the mood down just a hair. and talk a little bit about fear and punishment and consequences and error thinking and how we can move from that into a greater state of being. And you know, earlier, I think it was Stacy mentioned the fires and the shooting in Southern California, and I live in Northern Nevada, and where our consciousness is right now is the Paradise Fire. There was an entire city destroyed with this fire. I have a friend, another fellow minister, whose husband was buried in a cemetery in Paradise, and that cemetery is burned down now. I mean, we're in the midst here of something that's going on. There's a lot of ick going on. There's a lot of fear going on in this world. And we see it every day, and we feel it every day. And I don't know about you guys, but I like to pretend as if I am whole. I like to pretend as if I am part of the one, that great one that God is everywhere present, and I am a part of it, and so are you. And I have to tell you that when I began to embody this consciousness, I started feeling all the pain that was going on in the world. And it made life pretty difficult for me. And I would wake up in the morning not knowing why I felt out of sorts and sad and just not right. And then I would plug in and learn that yet another bad thing had happened in the world. And so what this has done for me has caused me, or allowed me, depending on how you look at it, to work harder, to do my spiritual work even more, to know the consciousness of the presence of the wholeness of God within me and through me even more than I ever have before. And I have to do this more consistently than I ever did before. Otherwise, I would just live in that fear consciousness. And Ernest Holmes tells us that there's no punishment but a consequence for our fear. And I have indeed found this to be true. I'm sure that you've all experienced the consequences of either living in fear before you knew better, or experiencing some temporary fear because of something that has gone on. Some of those consequences are that we make ourselves sick. I had a period in my life once where I was 40 years old and something happened and I went into a great fear state and I ended up sick in bed I couldn't get up. I couldn't get up. We make ourselves sick behind that fear. We can't afford to do that. Sometimes we get into fear and we react and then people fight back. We get into fear and we point fingers of blame and we say, you shouldn't do that. And they look back at us and they say, oh yeah? Show me. And they put up their dukes and they want to fight. And then we're all fighting. We can't do that. We've reacted in fear when a loved one says something that hurts. And then we experience the consequence of a barrier between us and them. Sometimes that barrier takes years or months to dismantle. And don't we do the same globally? We get in this fear space and we don't realize that we're in fear, but we say, I'm going to erect a barrier between me and you. And the barriers are both literal and figuratively. And we can't. And they separate us. They separate us from everything else in life. And they cause more fear. And it takes us forever to bring down those barriers. We get in fear and we react in anger. And you know, I read a statistic recently, and it said that anger, one act, just one little act of anger, lowers the immune system for 4 to 5 hours. While one episode of a good belly laugh ups your immune system for 24 hours. Fear can make us sick, and it does, while laughter can make us well. Another thing that we do when we live in fear is we find ourselves, as Ernest Holmes likes to say, arguing for our limitations. We say, I can't do that. Or we say, I won't do that. Or we say, I'm not ready to do that. Or we say, I'm not worthy to do that. Or we say, I'm not worthy to have that. That's all fear-based thinking. That's all error thinking. That's all stuff that we can do something about. So how do we do something about that? How do we do something and eliminate that fear thinking from our lives? Even if we have to do it every single day. Even if we have to do it, as I find myself in the position of sometimes having to do it several times a day. Ernest Holmes, in our reading, I don't know who of you are following along in the Living the Science of Mind book this year, but in the reading for this week, he says that we must purge our minds of that kind of thinking. In fact, he goes right out and says that that is the definition of purgatory, is error thinking. When we are thinking like that, we're in purgatory and we've placed ourselves there. Just like heaven is not a place we go to later, it's a state of mind now, as is heaven. And so we must purge our thinking of those kinds of thoughts. So, how do we do that? And you know, all thought leads to action. And around in this neck of the woods, what we think is what tends to manifest in our life. And what we think and believe is how we then later act. So if we're purging our thinking, of those kinds of thoughts, then we're beginning to purge our behavior of those kinds of thoughts as well. So let's talk about that a little bit. The good news is that we can, right here and right now, immediately, it does work this quickly and this powerfully. We can stop living in fear. Holmes says if it's possible for us to learn to be afraid, we can reverse the process and learn to have faith. And that's the beginning. That's the beginning to purge our thoughts from fear and error thinking. We have faith. What can I have faith in today? I can have faith that the sun will rise. I can have faith, and I do. I did have faith that I would come here and have a good time today. I can have faith when I walk around during the fellowship portion of the service and we're all hugging and greeting one another. I can have faith that every single person that I hugged in this room is a wonderful, beautiful, loving child of God. I know this. I know this without any doubt at all. And it's beautiful to know that and then to walk amongst you and to feel that as we give and receive our hugs. It's really a beautiful thing to have that demonstration of my faith. Wholeness is another way that we can purge ourselves of that fear and that error thinking. And Holmes talks to us about wholeness. He says forgiveness is essential. He says goodness is normal. If that's true, if goodness is normal, then is badness abnormal? Yeah. Yeah. He says all unkind and negative reactions must be purged. He says it is time for us to clarify the situation and realize that the God of love cannot hate. The God of life cannot destroy. And the God of good cannot desire evil. I'd like to submit that when we are thinking those fearful thoughts and we're thinking anything but love or life or good, that we are in purgatory and that we placed ourselves there. And just because we placed ourselves there, we can get out of that place. All we have to do is replace those thoughts. We replace thoughts of discord with thoughts of peace, and we replace thoughts of anger with thoughts of compassion, and we replace thoughts of doubt with thoughts of confidence. If God is love, and God is life, and God is good, and I believe that it is, and if God is indeed everywhere present, and I believe that also, then I ask you, what part of any of what is going on is not good? If God is all good all the time and everywhere present, what part of what is going on is not good? And yet the appearances say that some of it really isn't good. That woman who is grieving her husband all over again because his grave got burnt to the ground, that's not good. Those fires in Southern California, those are not good. The shooting, it's not good. All the other stuff that's going on in this world is not good. But yet on some level it has to be good, because God is all good, everywhere present all the time. Our job is to find that good and embody it and be it, and spread that good around in the world. That's our job. We get to choose to be different today. We get to choose to live lives of wholeness. We get to choose to bring love instead of hatred. We get to choose to forgive where there is wrong. We get to choose to bring harmony where there is discord. We get to choose to bring truth where there is error. We get to choose to have faith instead of doubt, and hope instead of despair. We choose light instead of the shadows and the darkness of anger and judgment. And we bring joy instead of sadness. We love and we understand and we console and we give and we pardon. And we move out into the world with compassion in our hearts for ourselves and for everyone else. Some of you might recognize that's my own interpretation of the prayer of St. Francis, and that prayer gives me a lot of comfort. There are some days when I turn to those words and I think, I need some help here, because I'm in fear, or I'm in anger, or I'm frustrated, or I'm in a state of disbelief at what's going on in the world and I can't stand it anymore. And I turn to those words, and they give me a lot of comfort. Sometimes people accuse us of being in spiritual bypass, where we totally and completely ignore all the stuff that's going on in the world, because don't you know God is all good all the time and everywhere present. No, we don't ignore that. We feel this stuff deeply. We feel it very, very deeply. But we also acknowledge that there is a process here. We acknowledge that we have some power to contribute to this process. We acknowledge that we have some stuff that we can do to move this little puppy along so that we get out of it. We get out of the mess we're in. And we get into the beauty and the joy and the peace that life is, that is normal for life. So, I have no idea how long I've been speaking. I was asked to keep it a little bit short because of all the extra stuff you have going on today. And I'm so happy to do so, because what I witnessed before here today was awesome. So I'm going to kind of wrap things up a little bit here and say that there is indeed no punishment but a consequence. And we are empowered people. We can change our consequences in life. We can change our thinking to change our lives. And the way to do so is to replace all that error thinking with good thinking. So we pause when we get agitated, when we get upset or fearful or angry or frustrated or mad or sad. We pause for a little bit. Just pause. If you've got kids, you call it a timeout. We put ourselves in timeout. And we go inside to that place where God lives, and we connect once again. We reconnect again and again and again, as many times as is necessary. We pause until we calm down, and we replace our thoughts of unkindness with thoughts of kindness. And we pause until we can once again experience that sense of being one with God. We pause until we can replace our negative thoughts with positive ones. We actively pursue a consciousness of optimism rather than pessimism. I like to think that I have been successful if people start accusing me of being a Pollyanna. That hasn't happened in a while, by the way. That's my goal. I want to get accused of being a Pollyanna once again. We love those who think differently than us, and we strive to understand them. You know, I live in an interesting household. I'm a registered Democrat. My husband's a registered Republican. We have conversations sometimes. What I am learning is that there's a common middle ground there. There's a common middle ground. There are some things upon which we can agree. And I'm learning that my husband is not the representative of what I've always envisioned for them. Not true. It's just not true. That's more error thinking on my part. That's error thinking on my part. And guess what? I get to correct that error thinking. I do. I do. So when we pause, we think about things like that, and we ask ourselves, where can we find the common ground around here? Where can we find the common ground? And we forgive. We forgive ourselves first, because you know that if you can't forgive yourself, you can't forgive others. You must forgive yourself. And if you can't forgive yourself, find yourself one of these delightful practitioners that I've met here, and let them do it for you. Let them start the process. We become peacemakers in this world. We say, let's not argue, let's not fight. Let's instead find a common ground where we can begin to have a conversation, a nice conversation. We continue to know the truth which sets us free, and we express that truth. And that truth is that we are indeed all one. We are indeed all connected. And what we do does affect others. My actions affect you and vice versa. We continue not only to have faith, but to strengthen our faith and feed our faith. You know that old Indian story about the young man who goes to the chief and he says, "Chief, I've got a bad wolf and a good wolf following me around. Which one do I feed? Which one grows? How do I know?" And I'm not being totally accurate about this story because I don't have it written down because I'm speaking off the top of my head. He says, the one that grows is the one that you feed. We feed our good. We focus on love. We focus on forgiveness. We focus on compassion. We don't focus on the error thinking. We don't focus on the fear. When we focus on that stuff, we feed it and it grows. It might be necessary to sometimes take a bigger time out than normal and retreat and lick our wounds, go under the covers and hide for a while. But we come back out, and when we come out, we're swinging words of love and joy. When we come back out embodying compassion in the world. That Khalil Gibran reading that Cheryl read a little while ago. You are the sons and daughters of life's desire. Life desires us to be full of joy and happiness so that we can go out and express our peace and our good in the world in kind thoughts and loving actions. That's how this thing works. And Stacy read the global vision. And so we envision that global vision, and that's not just words that we read. Just like coming to church here on Sundays isn't just something that you do once a week. This stuff is stuff that we embody 24/7. We take those words and we allow them to seep into us. And then we act them out and we embody them and we be those words. That's what this stuff is about. We do envision a world that is a better world for everyone present. We do bring hope by furnishing that vision of a better world with our own peace and our own joy. We accept and we embrace and we have compassion. And we laugh and we understand and we console. And we give and we pardon and we love. We love ourselves and we love each other. This is the recipe for living lives of grace and freedom. Do this. Replace the error thinking with good, positive thinking. Replace the fear with faith. Change the thoughts. And you too can live a life of grace and freedom and help make the world a better place. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend, for your kindness and graces. It's beautiful. Please help me welcome up a beautiful, warm welcome for Chadwick Johnson.
Thank you so much. Wonderful to be here today. Would it be all right if I sing a song for you that I wrote? Yes. All right. This is a song that I wrote about the loss of memory, dementia, Alzheimer's. It's a cause that's very close to my heart, and when looking at this, writing this song with my co-writer, we were kind of looking about what we wanted to write about. And the one thing that kept ringing true to us is that no matter where someone is in their memory, we all know and connect to the feeling of love. We never forget that. So this song is called Remember Love. You're on the outside looking in, not quite sure of where you've been. Unnamed faces, familiar places. Will you connect it all again? Can't hold the moments that made you mine. We're losing who and how and when. Missing traces, time erases. Won't lose who you are, just where you've been. There was a time when I lost my way, was so confused until you said, our minds deceive us but heart redeems us. Follow your heart, it'll show you the way. Tonight let's both forget the past. A moment's now, let's make it last. Time it binds us, love binds us. With open hearts we hold today. So you
Quite a few last week.
Good morning. Good morning. So we have a list of things we'd like to say. And so it's not a lot, but we learned how to face our fears today.
Alright, I'll continue. And how we face our fears is to either talk to a friend or offer fears to our God by saying this prayer. I now lay down all my fears and doubt and anxieties. I pass them back to the great and perfect life of which I know I am a part of.
Learn to face your fears. Ask yourself questions so you can find out where the fear came from. And if it is something that you truly need to be worried about, gratitude is good for you.
Take it easy.
Gratitude is good for you. Smoother heart rhythm, lower stress hormones, increase immune response, increase in anti-aging hormone.
Anti-aging hormone.
I told you we had a lot. Grateful people are 20 to 25% happier. When you focus on a gratitude, a shift or a transformation occurs. You become happier. Grateful children have a distinct advantages. Great happiness and life satisfaction, higher GPAs, strong and more supportive relationships, greater social skills, and more community involvement. An altitude of gratitude can shift you back into alignment with your highest good. Simply remember 5 things you are grateful for in the moment and breathe deeply with 3 to 5 deep breaths. Also, there's an also. We're almost done. We made these. Yeah, we did a lot. So we made gratitude trees, and we wrote down many things that we were grateful for, and we put them on trees. Some of the things I wrote was a good education, a roof over my head every day, and my family and friends.
We had so much to say, we had flashcards. So what I said,
Me too.
So what I said on my tree is I'm grateful for God, water, my pets, my house, my church, my food, my school, my entertainment, my friends, my family, and Fortnite.
I'm grateful for food, water, my phone, my BFFs, God, school, my family, to be loved, and to have.
And we talked about how it was to be unique.
We learned about the things that make you special, and we learned a bunch about things that make you special.
Oh, come on down. I'd like to ask our ministers to come forward, our visiting ministers and visiting practitioners. Woo! Get off that treadmill. All right. I would like to ask our ministry of prayer team to please come forward. And thank you all for being here, and stay and have lunch with us.
Oh, and don't forget the Heart of Peace meditation, which is Wednesday night, 7 p.m. It's wonderful.
Reverend Karen will pray us out.
If you want to stand and connect, that'd be awesome. Okay, come on down.
Everybody connected? All right. Oh, and with a deep breath, I feel that presence of God. Oh my goodness. It is indeed everywhere present. God is indeed all good all the time. God is living and working and moving and breathing in me, as me, and through me. And it is living and working and breathing and moving in you and as you and through you. This God stuff is the most powerful force in the universe. And we are all a part of it. And it is a very beautiful thing to be a part of that force. And so as we move off into our journeys this afternoon, I affirm that everyone present here today moves out with an attitude of gratitude and an attitude of optimism and an attitude and a feeling and an embodiment of joy and peace and beauty and wisdom and love and compassion. I affirm that as we move off into our journeys this afternoon, embodying these wonderful attributes of spirit, that we move a little bit freer, our steps are a little bit lighter, our heads are held a little bit higher, our posture is just a little bit stronger. We walk with confidence and we move with joy, because that is who and what we are right here and right now. And so with great gratitude for this time together and this place and all of our wonderful ministers here today and all of our wonderful practitioners and all of our wonderful peeps that are here today and the wonderful potluck and the wonderful children and the great, totally awesome music, I am grateful for all of it. And I anchor, and the baby agrees. Yeah! And I anchor, and we say those wonderful, honoring words together. And so it is. Amen.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and now we begin.
Both ways, huh?